What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name's Alicia.
I'm Savannah.
And this is Girl Talk.
In
In today's episode, we are going to be talking about getting married. I have been with Jacob for 6 going on 7 years now. You can talk about how long you've been together.
On the 22nd of this month, we will have been together 5 years. And then this coming August, so in 4 months, will be our first anniversary for
So exciting.
marriage. Yeah.
We have our wine, of course. Wine always makes everything better.
It does.
Savannah brought some good vibes today with her crystals.
I did, yeah. I brought quartz and smoky quartz. I actually usually just keep some in my pocket. Normally, like on a daily basis, I'll keep them in my pocket. But the jeans I'm wearing don't have front pockets and the back pocket has a hole in the bottom. And then I'm wearing red jasper. I was trying to focus on my root chakra today. Started a new job, so I've been feeling disconnected a little bit lately. Smoky quartz helps with that, and red jasper helps with that. This one is red, and that one's like a blackish, grayish. Sometimes it can be a little bit more clear depending on the quality that you get, but they both assist in balancing the root chakra. And then clear quartz is just for good vibes, good energy.
That's so cool. Yes. Yeah. Cheers to good vibes and good energy.
Cheers,
Love
good
that.
vibes.
I want to start off first by letting you guys know, definitely take today what we say with a grain of salt. Each relationship is also different because each person is different. I feel like the most toxic thing you can do in your relationship is constantly compare it to somebody else,
right,
or compare it to other people and their relationship and try to embody their relationship and make it your own, because your relationship is unique to you and your partner and whoever you choose to be with. And maybe you can get some tips from us and try to implement something. You know your relationship better than anyone else, and you know you better than anyone else, and you'll figure it out for yourself. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the video right now. Marriage, I feel like your first year is always the hardest, and people always say that, and I didn't realize it was a thing until I looked back on it, and I was like, wow, yeah, that was really hard.
Yeah,
but
there's so much adjusting, and you don't think about it because, like, we were already living together, like, especially if you're not living together before you're married, like, I can't even imagine that adjustment. But, like, we had already been living together for years, and then, like, I just thought, like, I was just like, oh, it's just like a piece of paper, like, nothing changes.
It definitely does.
Everything changes. Yes.
I want to start off talking about how long it took me and Jacob to get to a healthy place. So like I said, we've been together for 6.5 years, going on 7 in September. And I definitely feel like it took maybe 5 years for us to feel really comfortable and vulnerable enough with each other to, like, not hold anything back.
Yeah.
And for a long time, like, our biggest issue in our relationship was 100% open communication.
Yeah. Because
we would communicate with each other, and I have always felt like we've communicated with each other in an extremely healthy way, but it wasn't, like I said, that 100% vulnerability. Like, we would hold back a lot, and, like, we would be scared to hurt the other person's feelings. And I feel like when we did that, we were just hurting ourselves. For example, okay, so we had a roommate. There's always gonna be problems when you live with other people.
Yeah.
So instead of me just outright saying, hey, I have a problem with your friend and I need you to fix it, I would just be like, so this kind of came up today, and but it's fine.
Making it less of a deal than it needed to be.
And so in his mind, he would think, oh, you say it's fine, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And then in my mind, I'm like,
I want it to be dealt with.
Yes, I need you to do something. And that wasn't fair of me to hold those expectations to him.
Right.
To read my mind and take action when I'm not sitting here and telling him, I need this from you.
Yeah.
I think also as a partner, and one thing that took us a long time to handle and get a hold on, when we finally were comfortable enough telling each other how we really felt, it was really hard for the person receiving the information to not take it personally.
Yeah.
Yes. Me and Jake in our relationship have had some issues with, like, our moms and, like, communication and, like, where boundaries lie and things like that.
Yeah.
Which, when you're blending a family, you're always going to have to figure out boundaries.
But that's why there's that, like, whatever kind of vibe around the idea of a mother-in-law, and it's negative because your mother is like the most important person in your life, the person that you're closest to for most people.
Yeah.
Not always. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people are closest with their dad, sometimes you have guardians,
Yeah.
whatever. Just for the standard for most people, you're closest with your mom until you get into a committed relationship where
Yeah.
you're life partners, and then that person kind of holds the position that your mom held for you
Yeah.
for all those years. So it's always hard working
Yeah,
that
definitely.
out, you know?
Yeah.
So
So whenever we would communicate about our moms, whether Jake would want to tell me something about my mom or I would want to say something to him about his mom, we always would get extremely defensive.
Right.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
The moment
That's
the word
natural, I
mom
feel.
came out, we were both on the defense. Like, what do you have to say about my mom? What?
Yeah.
And then it would be like, I'm not trying to attack you and I'm
Right.
not trying to attack your mom. I'm just trying to vent to you right now. And then we would get mad at each other because it's like, okay, now you're getting defensive and so it's going to make me get defensive and now
Right.
I'm getting pissed off
Yeah.
because you're getting pissed off.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't get anywhere. I would say it took like a solid 5 years for us to finally
Work that out.
work that out, work
Yeah.
out whatever you're telling me I can listen to without feeling attacked, without feeling like I have to defend somebody or something. That has been a huge thing in our relationship that we got a hurdle over, and now, I mean, our relationship is, I feel like, better than ever. I can sit here
Yeah.
and tell him, hey, this is what's going on in my mind, and like this is something that I feel like I need to get sorted out. And he's just like, okay, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And then I can tell him, hey, I don't need anything, like I just need a listening ear. And he was like, okay, like give it to me, like I'll
That's
listen to
awesome.
you. And vice versa. You kind of have that check-in of like, what do you need from me? Like, is
Yeah.
there anything I can do to help you, or do you just want me to listen to you?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what has definitely made our marriage thrive. I think there's a saying that I've heard before of listen to somebody to hear them and not to respond.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
very
also,
impactful.
yes,
Yeah.
that is a huge thing that we had to learn. We were listening to just get to a point where he would stop and I would just
Have
dissect
something to say.
something that he said 2 minutes ago, and I would dissect it and start talking and react to that piece when he was like, did you just listen to anything I just said?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you said that. And he's like, yeah, but I said plenty of
Right.
things after that. That's definitely something that we struggled with.
Yeah.
I think getting married young, I mean, I feel like anybody, even regardless of being young,
Have
can
to-
struggle with that.
Yeah.
But I'm just grateful that we figured it out at a young age to kind of get over that and figure it out
Yeah.
and, you know, get past that.
Yeah, that takes a lot of like emotional awareness. Figure out what was happening and then fix it.
Yeah.
Because like there's egos involved, there's feelings involved, you know, it's like it's really hard to listen to someone speak about their feelings when they're directly related to something to be brought up about your partner's mom or friend or roommate or whatever
Yeah.
the situation is. Like, to not have that emotional response when someone's telling you their feelings about like, hey, this is how I felt about this situation, and not take it personally, like that takes a lot of emotional maturity that
Yeah.
not a lot of people have
Yeah.
in their teens or early 20s.
Something else we've struggled with is Jacob has never been a very emotional person. He acts on things more than he talks about things. So when I would vent to him about something, I would need him to like comfort me. I'm the type of person that I need reassurance. And after many conversations with Jake, we've learned that it's from like my previous relationships. But something that Jacob has taught me is what's happened in your past can definitely affect you, but it's not going to affect us. So I understand you need that reassurance, and I'm going to give you that reassurance, but I'm going to give it to you in my way.
Yeah.
And so we have just learned to compromise. So I tell him I need reassurance. He doesn't sit here and tell me 20 million times a day, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Yeah.
For example, on Easter, he surprised me with flowers. And I'm like, what is this for? He's like, just cuz, like, I love you,
Yeah.
like, happy Easter. He will, on Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and my birthday, he'll get me a card every year and write me a poem in it. And I still have every single one of those cards, and I have like a little memory box, and I keep it, and like we look back on them together when we get like alone time. Yeah. And he'll tell me how he like thought of that poem and
Yeah.
like his train of thought on how he
Oh
got
my
there.
God.
Yeah. And that's the way he reassures me that he
Yeah.
loves me. There's a lot of different love languages.
Right.
And Jacob's love language is action. He is not the type of person that he's gonna text me in the morning and be like, hello, beautiful, like, I hope you slept so well tonight, and like all these emojis. I'll tell him, hey, like, I'm sorry I didn't make dinner. I've had a really long day with Asher and cleaning the house. And he'll be like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll order us something. I'm gonna surprise you. That just works for us. But I've learned to take him for who he is, and he's taking me for who I am. So when I tell him, hey, I need reassurance, he's like, okay, let me figure it out in the way that works for me.
Yeah.
And then when he tells me, like, hey, I'm not emotional, like, I don't really like all that lovey-dovey stuff, so I find different ways, you know, to do it without me sitting here saying, hey, how do you feel? Can I tell you how I feel? Like I love you so much. Yes, and I can tell that it makes him uncomfortable. So what I do is, hey, I packed you like an extra snack for you to take to work. And he's like, oh, thank you. Or I'll write him notes inside of his lunch pail. So that's just basically what's worked for us. And like, it's taken 5, 6 and a half, almost 7 years for us to get to that place. So it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of communication, a lot of figuring it out. And most importantly, it just takes the effort on your end and your partner's end to like meet halfway and to figure it out together.
Yeah, and kind of set your feelings aside and prioritize you guys as a unit instead of just individuals.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Me and my partner have been together going on 5 years this month. We have very opposite ways of communicating. Like, our communication styles are just very opposite. I think it's part personality and part upbringing. He was constantly taught as a child to, when he's like feeling something, a heightened emotion, whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, whatever it is, his mom was great about being like, okay, let's talk about how you're feeling now. Let's use like descriptive words, like, are we feeling frustration, like happiness, like, why are we feeling this way, and like
to chalk it out.
Yeah. And like, even if there's not like a, this is how we solve the frustration that you're feeling or the anger, the sadness, without even solving it, just being able to address your emotions is such a useful tool to establish in children at a young age. As a kid, was like given really good, healthy outlets and tools of like how to communicate and how to deal with your feelings, whereas like I wasn't so much. And so, especially because I was in a pretty unhealthy relationship previous to ours, I just didn't have healthy styles of communication, and I didn't really have like the tools I needed. But I feel like me and him entered each other's lives at like the perfect time, and I mean, well, it was actually pretty bad timing, but
it worked out for the better.
But like, we were what each other needed in each other's lives is kind of like where I was going with that. Like, I remember thinking to myself specifically, like a moment of thought, like when I started kind of having, you don't pick in life when you find the right person, and like, it doesn't matter if it's like perfect timing, you know, if you're like, I'm ready for a relationship, or I'm ready for a child, or
it doesn't
I'm ready,
just happen like that,
right? Like, you don't get to pick when you're ready, and like, people can be ready for a child and try for years and years and years, and it just doesn't happen. And you can be ready for a relationship and go on dating apps and go out and try to meet people and try to mingle and try to socialize and try to make it happen, and it just doesn't happen. But sometimes like, you can be in not a perfect situation and have a child because that's the time that it was meant to happen for you, and same with like relationships. And I feel like that happened with him, and I recognized it as, okay, this is my person, and he's incredible, and you don't meet people like him all the time, and even though it's not the perfect time, I was willing to put in the effort.
That's awesome.
Yeah, to have that relationship. Me and him have spent the past 5 years working out how to communicate with each other, and kind of being more intuitive about like picking up on subtle things, changes in the vibe in the room, you know, and like, sometimes he'll be having a stressful time at work, or just he'll have a lot going on with his private life, and he doesn't realize that it's impacting him yet, and I will notice it before he does. And vice versa. Like, he will say, I feel like you're being short with me, and I will have not realized that I was being short with him, or not realized that I was being cold, because like, me and him are very physical people. Like, we're very lovey, both like physical touch. It's very comforting for us. So if I'm being distant or I'm being cold or I'm being short, I might not notice it, and
Yeah.
he'll pick up on it, and then we address it. It's just really important that, like, even when you're having heightened emotions, to remember that those emotions are temporary, and that
Yeah.
you never make good decisions when you're in a heightened emotional state. Like, you can be extremely happy and be having the best day of your life, or vice versa. You can be having the worst day of your life, having a very awful time, feeling very low, and in neither of those states do you make healthy, logical
Yeah.
decisions.
I feel like there is a huge, I guess, stigma, or there is a huge side eye at being married young.
Yeah.
And I remember
People just kind of dismiss it. Like, it's
Absolutely.
not taken seriously.
Yes, and I've
Yeah.
always kind of questioned and wondered why that is. Because regardless if I got married at 18 or 19 to 28, 29,
Yeah.
I feel like you still have struggles.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people who got married at like 30 and then divorced. Me and Jacob got married so young. I personally feel like we're thriving.
Yeah, I agree.
And
you guys are a very strong couple.
Thank you. And so it's like, I don't understand why I have to wait to be married at like 28 because it's going to make everyone else happy. My family and his family have always been extremely supportive, and I've always been extremely grateful for that. But for me, I knew marriage was the perfect decision for us because prior to Jacob, my communication skills weren't the best in a relationship. I was extremely introverted. I really didn't want to meet new people, go out of my bubble. And being with Jacob, I have gone to Florida. I have made new friends. I've made better connections with my friends. For example, when me and you have had an issue in the past and I will vent to him about it, well, why do you think that she feels that way? Do you think there's something that you've done? Like, how about you just talk to her? Just tell her. Like, don't beat around the bush.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like, I feel like Jacob has made me ultimately a better person. And I feel like that's what marriage is about. You know, communication, making each other better. And also for me, Jacob was my best friend before we got married. Like, we were best friends before there was any romantic involvement whatsoever.
Yeah.
So for me, if I know all this and I feel all this so early on, why am I going to wait until I'm at least 30 just because society says have experiences and go to the club and like go through your like dirty years first. It's like, why can't I travel with my husband? I traveled with my husband and my son at 25 years old.
And had like a great time.
And had an amazing time. I also feel like a lot of the times when young people get married, people in society and just, I guess, haters sit around and kind of just creep and wait for you to fail. And they want to thrive on your failures.
Definitely.
And it's just, it's so sad and it's so unfortunate. I mean, I feel like I've been removed from a lot of people from my past for a long time, and so I don't know if I have like any like haters out there or whatever, but I mean, even if I did, what do you gain out of a failure of mine in my relationship? You get the satisfaction of, oh yes, like I don't like her, so she failed, but it's like, the number one thing that has always been like an issue with me as far as other people having an opinion on someone else's life choices, whether it be their sexuality, their decision to get married, to move to a different state, to have children or not, what does their personal decisions have to do with you?
The only effect it can have on you is the choice to
let it affect you.
Feelings about their decision. It literally physically has no impact on you unless they decide their decision affects you by them deciding to punch you in the face. Then you probably deserve it.
Because at the end of the day, you and your partner have to live with it.
Right.
If you guys buy a house and you guys go into debt, like, that's you guys going into debt. If you have children, you're the one staying up all night with that child to feed and change and do all that. Like, those people that have an opinion on whether or not they want to tell you to do something or not to do something, like, they don't have to live with it. They're not inside the four walls of where you're living with your significant other. So as long as you and your significant other are on the same page, by all means, do you.
You don't choose when you meet the right person in life. And if you feel like that is your person, and that even if you have very obvious struggles and, you know, people look at your relationship from the outside and think that you won't be successful, it's okay for them to have that opinion. It's not okay for them to voice it and make you feel bad about yourself or your situation or your relationship. But if you feel like that is your person and that you guys can overcome any difficult situation and that you guys make each other better people, then you live your life, you do your thing,
definitely.
you be with your person.
Definitely. Me and Jacob had a conversation this morning, and I was talking to him, and I mentioned that we were going to be filming this video today, and so I was just asking him like what he thinks, and being married young, and does he regret it, and like how he feels about the situation. And I wrote down a couple bullet points that he said, because I feel like Jacob is the perfect person to go to when you're like feeling down or you need some advice. Like, he has such an old soul that he has like the perfect amount of wisdom to like just turn every situation around.
Yeah. And he's like very logical, but not in a negative way. Like, he's very encouraging, and he can give you a perspective that really helps you get through a lot of difficult situations.
Yeah. He mentioned to me that sometimes things are conditions, not problems. Problems have solutions, and conditions are something you learn to live with. And I thought that was so like perfectly said. In our relationship, one of the conditions is I'm on social media. I do YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I very rarely occasionally will make TikToks. He has no social media whatsoever, and that is his personal decision. I respect him to understand that he doesn't care for social media. He doesn't really want to be a part of it. If I ask him to do a video, he will, but he's not going to sit there and film a bunch of TikToks with me. He's not going to sit there and go live with me on Instagram. He's not going to make an Instagram to like support me. He will go on my YouTube and be the first person to like my video. He'll have all his post notifications on and be like my first view. Like, that's the way he's going to show support for me.
Yeah.
And I am also going to accept him and say, hey, like, I'm getting my feelings hurt because you didn't make an Instagram to support me. It's like, no, like, that's okay. Like, those are our conditions, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But as far as problems, like I said, they have a solution. And sometimes you'll have a problem in your relationship and you can get over it. But I guess social media to us wouldn't be a problem, because I guess there really isn't a solution to that. He's set in his ways of, I don't want it, and I'm set in my ways that I'm going to be involved in it. I feel like marriage is an everyday, continuous
job.
Yeah, a job, essentially. It can be. It is. It's like, it's full time. It's 24/7. And I think
it's never, I mean, sometimes it can feel effortless, but it's never actually effortless.
Yes.
Their feelings are, you can never be inconsiderate about your partner's needs and wishes and wants and desires. You constantly have to take into consideration that you are not an individual person who only needs to take care of themselves. You are a unit, and you are a family, and like it's constant thought and effort and
absolutely
work.
Yeah.
Another
thing that Jake kind of mentioned to me earlier this morning in our conversation that I wanted to write down as well too was constant open communication with your partner, with the understanding that you're not going to fix everything today. And I feel like that is another perfect thing to have in your relationship, because if you and your partner are at heads, as long as you guys both understand that you guys are both putting in the effort, you both putting in the time, and both of you know that the love is there, don't focus on getting it fixed right in that moment. Worry about like an everyday thing, or set goals for, hey, you know, I feel like I'm not getting enough emotion out of you. Okay, well, I'm going to try to give you more emotion. Don't expect your partner 10 minutes later to turn around and just write you this full love letter and write you a song. Like, revisit it in a month.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a conversation a month ago, and I mentioned that I wanted more affection, and you said you were going to give that to me. I don't really feel like I've gotten that. And then maybe your partner will come back and say, well, I've done this, this, and this. That's the way I've showed it.
Right.
Because that has happened with me and Jacob before, too.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
they have different ways of showing it than you were expecting.
Yes.
Clear and concise about like your expectations and your needs, and like even like your feelings, like this is why I felt this way and this is how I felt. And if you need something from them, then to just ask it in like the most clear way. Like it's uncomfortable and it's awkward, especially at first. Like even now, like we're 5 years in, you're 7 years in, like sometimes it can be almost painful to have to ask for what you need.
Yeah.
But the only person that you're hurting is yourself by not asking, and you're hurting the relationship, and they can't give you something that you don't ask for if they don't know that that's what you need. And so just being very clear about, I just need to vent. I just want to talk about this. And then they're like, okay. And they can just sit there and listen, you know, and just be whatever you need at that time. Or being like, hey, I feel this way about this situation and this is what I need from you to feel better. And give them the opportunity to either listen or solve the problem or be whatever you need them to be. You have to give them that opportunity by communicating very concisely what you need.
Just the understanding of knowing that you're going to change and your partner is going to change.
Yeah.
So
everybody's constantly
so
growing.
5 years from now, maybe my needs are going to change. Maybe I'm not going to want Jacob to be as emotional.
Definitely.
Maybe I'm going to say, hey, like, back off a little bit. I mean, I don't imagine saying that, but, you know, like I said, you never know.
Yeah.
And maybe when I'm 40 years old, I'm just going to say, hey, like, I want more physical touch.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, okay.
Definitely.
Or maybe I won't want physical touch. And understanding that, like I said, you and your partner are going to evolve and change. It's a part of life. It's a part of human nature.
Right.
And just doing it together. And I think that's what makes marriage so beautiful.
Yeah.
Now that we talked about like a lot of the hurdles that we have faced in our relationships and like how we got over it and how we sustain our relationship.
Yeah.
I want to talk about like how we spice things up. When you and Nick are just kind of bored and like, what do you guys do when you want to spice things up? Let me ask you this: do you guys role play? Because I feel like a lot of people do that.
Yeah. So
You do?
No.
Oh, I thought you said yeah, you do.
Well, agreeing that a lot of people do that. I think it's just personal preference. And I'm not against role playing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe down the line as a way to spice it up. But just personally, I have other things for me that are more exciting than role playing.
Yeah.
I don't have like a role in my head that I would want him to play or that I would want to play that would like make me feel like super confident. So, but then like also like I get uncomfortable with like being in a play. Like if you told me like this is your role and I go do that, I feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
So what do you guys do?
I feel like for us, and I think it changed a little bit when we became parents.
Yeah, definitely.
But for us, what we like to do to like spice things up is maybe we'll like get a sitter for Asher and we'll dress up. And like we'll dress up like super cute, like it's like a first date,
like
and
nice.
Yeah, and
like
Jacob
looking nice for each other.
And Jacob really isn't into fashion.
Yeah.
And so he'll be like, hey, like pick me out an outfit that you're gonna find me attractive in.
Aww.
So I'll pick out an outfit for him, and then I'll pick out my outfit for me. And or maybe he'll give me a tip like, I really like when your hair is curly, so I'll do my hair curly, or I'll ask him a few questions like, up or down. He'll give me an answer and I'll like find a style that way. And when COVID happened, like we would just stay in and watch a movie, having like that intention of trying to dress up for each other and impress the other person.
Definitely.
Put on cologne and put on perfume. I feel like that's what we do right now for our relationship to kind of spice things up. Little subtle surprises too. I had my period like 2 weeks ago and I was just like, I'm not really feeling good.
Aww.
Like I'm not in a great mood. I'm having like really bad cramps. And he got me a nothing but cake, like a little mini personal one.
Aww.
And on the bag, he wrote, here's to nothing but a good night. And so that's like little
He's
things.
so cute.
Yes, he's so sweet. Little surprises.
Yeah,
or,
feeling connected.
Yes,
feeling
absolutely.
Like thought about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's incredible. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I love you guys. I feel like the more, because Jake isn't like a very open person,
He's not.
you know? Like it's not that he's cold, like he's very friendly, he's very social, but he's
social.
reserved. Like he's great at getting people to talk about things they're passionate about and then engaging them.
Yeah.
Instead of revealing important, close things to him.
Yes.
So like he's a very sociable person, but just like isn't super open. And so like hearing you talk about him, like it just makes me love him even more, and like you guys together.
Thanks.
You guys are great.
Well, I feel the same way about you and Nick.
Thanks.
Shout out to you, Nick.
The culture and the social standard and like, I don't know, just like expectations about intimacy, I feel like in our generation is like, we, especially as women, are much more open and comfortable sexually and trying to like get over the suppression of you know, women being comfortable with like their sexuality and being like sexual beings. I think it's like a big way to feel close to your partner is through
absolutely.
being intimate.
Yeah.
But then also like wanting to be intimate, you need to feel close. Like
Yes,
for
and
a lot of
connected.
people, yeah. Like I think it's not always a necessity like to want to be intimate with your partner. Like sometimes like you're just feeling excited, something got you in the mood, or it's just been a while, or it hasn't been a while and you just want to do it again.
Exactly.
Whatever. But like sometimes like just feeling very close to your partner, like just feeling like connected and feeling understood and feeling heard and feeling loved and feeling safe, like just can be a lot more powerful when being intimate with your partner. And at least for us, like when we have those nights where we just talk, and like even if we're not talking about something like super vulnerable, like just having open communication or playing a game or being playful or just feeling happy and connected and having like a personal moment with each other, like that really,
that's what keeps your guys' relationship thriving.
Yeah.
That's good.
We feel really connected through that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely discussed like down the line, like further into our relationship, like other things.
Tell me more.
So I'm bisexual and I'm attracted to the same gender. So I mean, just like further down the line, like having a third person isn't really off the table or like things like that. But I feel like to get to that place, like I don't even know if we're there now. It's just not off the table.
And it's maybe like a someday thing.
I feel like some people, like when they do have that situation, they like it to be, like I know that some people will like couple swap like with people who are close to them, or like they'll have like a group where like they feel comfortable and confident in that group. For me personally, I don't ever want to see that person again. I want it to be on vacation in another country where I literally will never see them again. But also, I feel like when you're in that place where you're okay to bring another person to be intimate in your relationship, you have to be comfortable and confident. It's not something that you can do for your partner. So if it's not something that you want, I don't encourage you to do it with your partner. Or for
if you're not
partner.
100% comfortable with it.
Or if you don't feel confident in your relationship, or you feel like I'm thinking about that in my head and I don't feel confident and comfortable. I feel like I might be jealous, or I might feel insecure, or what if they like them better, or what if they're more attractive than me, or if you're having any insecurities, any doubts, any hesitation, definitely address that and work through that before you go into that situation and accidentally ruin your intimacy with your partner. Because being comfortable and being confident in that situation before you go into it is really important, and knowing that afterwards you still want to be intimate with your partner, just you two, because it's you two that are in the relationship, and it's you two who go home together and who are best friends and who need to be there for each other and still need to be intimate alone without that. And so that's why I feel like even though it's not off the table, it's definitely not in our relationship right now. It's not where we're at. But it's just an exciting thought to like think about, like someday, like just like being open sexually. Some people like are kind of your mine and only mine forever, and like I feel that way about him emotionally. But like physically, I'm like, that's kind of exciting to think about.
To kind of just wrap up this whole video before we finish up, the encouragement to do things apart from each other. Supporting each other when you're doing things separate definitely, I feel like, keeps the relationship going as well. And everything we've talked about today too relate to something aside from a marriage, I just say marriage because that's what I'm in and that's what I can
just
relate
like a
to
committed
right now.
relationship.
Yes, I definitely hope some things that we've talked about today has helped you if you're struggling with your partner and trying to find a better way to talk to them or spice things up, or just hear about things that maybe that you feel but you don't feel like anyone else is going through. All right guys, that's gonna bring us to the end of the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next episode of Girl Talk. Bye. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode of Girl Talk. Bye.
No,
Yay!
you have to redo that. I did a really stupid piece. Why would I do that? I'm literally just over here like...
That's gonna bring us to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Oh wait, did I say enjoyed? Right? I felt like I said a different word. What are they doing out there?
It sounds like a remote car or something. Do you have one?
No.
You entertain me. I don't know if we entertain you.
We entertain each other, and that's all that matters.